no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Senior Citizen Podcast, and today we are here with Stereo Joule, which I'm super happy about because we've been trying to get you guys on for a while.
It's been a bit. We always keep missing each other, but at least we keep coming back together and saying,
Right.
What are we going to do?
No, and when I say I have a goldfish memory, I truly do. Like, I will message someone and it's like, yeah, I'll tell you for next month. And then, like, it's not on purpose. I forget who I talk to.
I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands out here, but I'm always like, I promise we'll get to everybody. And we are finally sitting down having a chat with you guys.
Finally.
I want to hear a little bit about the band, how you guys got together.
So we've been together for some time, just writing music, having different bands as well. So we're sort of always testing genres and see if they cross or if we're going to stick to a specific genre. So this is actually our second band together.
Okay.
Stereo Joule. We had a previous one that was just kind of alt rock type thing, but this one's more electric, and we do a lot of backing tracks. So it's very different than what we've done in the past. But Stereo Joule, as it is now, has been together for about 8 years.
Yep.
And it's been a completely different project for us because there's so many different elements that come into the Stereo Joule sound. But yeah, we've been writing together for some time and decided to do this after going to a concert that we were kind of blown away by, and we were like,
Oh, what concert was it?
It was
Metric?
It was a Metric concert.
Okay.
Metric, yeah.
The band Metric, and they're similar in the aspect that it's a female singer, and a guitarist that write together, and then it's a full-on band, but again, just very electric, pushing sort of sequences and lots of synths and all that. And we were like, we haven't gone that way.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And so that kind of inspired us after being on a little, what I like to call pause.
A little hiatus.
Yeah, you never stop. You're always still doing things, but once you get that little push of inspiration of something new you want to try, which is what happened to us, then Stereo Joule came from that.
I loved it because when I read the description on Spotify, it was indie electro rock. And when you actually go in to listen to it, I'm like, this sounds like a soundtrack from like a 2000s movie that my mom would have never let me watch. But it's just so cool. Like, I'm talking about those like little indie movies that you're like Juno, that you're not, I wasn't allowed to watch it, but.
Right. Not at that time.
Yeah, not at even now, right, Mom? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I love the sound. I love that history behind it. It's very cool that you were just so inspired by a concert. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I listen to music live, I don't exactly if I don't know it previously, I don't really resonate with it. So had you been into that band before, or was it like we're Metric fans now starting today?
Well, we knew of them.
Yeah. It's there's certain bands that previous to Stereo Joule, we had like Chris and he said, we had a different sound. It was basically guitar. We still have guitars, but it was without the electronica element of it. And we saw Metric in concert, and we were like, this is. It's kind of like wait a minute, let's. We took the songs that we had in our set and went back into the studio and kind of like rewrote and retrained ourselves on how to use electronica, how to use backing tracks, how to use synths in our songs. So it was challenging, but this is where we're at right now, and we're having a ton of fun. So yeah.
That's the important part, to have fun with it.
Definitely. I mean, we introduced more computer to our sound, whereas before it was just 4-piece band, standard instruments in a rock band, and then we said, wow, we have lost touch that this is an instrument today too.
Mm-hmm.
And took that approach. But even though we knew about this band, we saw them and they were an opener for a more mainstream band, and we were like so blown away by them live that we knew we wanted to sort of push ourselves into something new, untried by us, and see where we went with it.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
The one time, like very recently, that I saw an opener that just like blew me away is an artist called Lolo.
Yeah.
And she's so cool. But like I had listened, I'm the kind of person that I look up the set list before I go to a concert. I don't know about you guys, but like I need to know what I'm getting into. Exactly. I got looked at like I, ran over someone's child for saying that. I'm like, bro, if I'm buying tickets, I need to know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there was a playlist for the Boys Like Girls concert of all the songs that they were going to go through, and they put the openers too. So you had 4 Year Strong and State Champs. But obviously it closes out with Boys Like Girls, and then it started from the beginning with Lolo, and I was like, oh, what is this? This is great. But when I saw her live, it was like, oh, yeah, no, biggest fan, like right now. So it's a nice feeling to like resonate with a band that you didn't think you were going to.
Right.
And you get to walk away with that experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to hear about you guys' musical backgrounds individually. How did you get into singing or any other instruments that you play?
So for me, I think, I'll start with what my first instrument was, and I was probably about 16, 17, 18, that age. And I wanted to play the drums. And, there's this, you morph into things over time. And at the time, I really didn't see myself not so much singing, but being in the front, right? I was always kind of like, I'm actually a very shy person. I don't think people might believe that when they see us on stage, but I'm very shy. So I think initially my instrument was more about being in the back, and that's why I chose it. I didn't do very well with it because I don't think I liked it. And I think people, most in general, anything in life, you gravitate towards the things that interest you, that you like the most. So that one didn't interest me very much. And then I kind of had a little bit of a lull there, not really knowing. But the one thing that was always consistent in my life was poetry. And I think a lot of songwriters start with poetry. So over time, it just becoming more poetic until I was like, I can make songs out of this. And so it started with lyrics, right? Just writing those and coming up with melodies for them, and then saying, I'm going to take up the guitar. Because again, I was still behind something if I was going to be performing live. And then eventually just saying, no, I can sing. Going and singing. And initially, even before we met, having my own solo project, recording my first EP. And then once that was released, I met him. And so it took us a while, just because I think when you are solid on your ground with what you want your projects to be like, even if creatively you are your own independent people before you come together, then maybe eventually you come together and start doing you're working on projects together. But that's sort of my background. And then still today, just the singing, no more instruments live, eventually picked up on keys, synth, and started writing with those. So that's kind of my story.
And the musicality just always kind of came easy to you?
No, it didn't. It didn't. I think, I had to, like, the drums were something that didn't stick. The guitar, it was good, but I didn't like singing and playing at the same thing at the same
hard.
time.
That's harder than it looks.
It is, and I consider myself a really active performer. So anytime we perform, anytime we write something that, I come up with it, the instrumental part first, I'm always like, I don't want to do it live. I don't. Like, we could either, somebody else could play it, or we could do a backing track for it, but I don't. I just want to sing. And
yeah, that's always like a back and forth, because we're actually we rehearse in our home, and we have everything set up there, drums, everything, the whole thing, and she always asks, Chris always has the synth out, she's always writing and stuff, and we were actually doing like pre-production the other day with our drummer, and I was like, oh great, she was writing something on the synth. And so they finished doing like the, I guess like the basic pre-production part of it. And I'm just waiting, for, just hearing out the song and like thinking, okay, what am I going to add on the guitar? How is it going to come out? The whole song. So I just come into the studio, we rehearse, and I'm like, that sounds awesome. Like the synth parts are really cool. And so, are you going to play them? And she was like,
Absolutely not.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
But I like the whole band always understands. Like, and they're always like, hey, Chris, are you bringing the synth? Like when we do like our acoustic shows, sometimes we're like we play obviously most of the shows it's the whole band, just charged up, bass guitars, backing tracks, drums, and then when we do our acoustic stuff, sometimes she'll bring out the synth and stuff, but everybody in the band's always like, just bring the synth, just play up there, but going back to
I put it out and then I don't play it.
Right. No, you have to you put in all your energy into the one thing that you're doing, because also like the interaction of a vocalist with a group will make it or break it for some people.
Absolutely.
So I completely understand. I would never push you to bring this in. I'm also not in your band, but Eddie, what's your musical background?
Guitar. Sister played guitar, dad played guitar. So it's always been, there's always been a guitar as far as I remember. Come from a musical family. My great uncle was a music conductor. So very strong music ties in my DNA. So as far as I remember, picked up a guitar, electric guitar. I can't remember what's the first artist that I saw, but it must have been something maybe like Van Halen or maybe Hendrix or something that I heard, and I was like, oh, I want to play guitar. How is that done? So my folks were always very supportive in parts, just do it right, and I love playing guitar. I've had my eras and as being like a very technical player, shredder as all guitar players know, and then now it's in the last maybe 5-10 years, it's been mostly. I know I can do that. I know there's a part of me that's always like the little kid that wants to go and just jam out. But to me now it's like the guitar. To me it's more like a songwriting tool. It's there's a place for that for the shredding, and then there's in our set, for example, there's a part of our set that we go into like 3 different songs that we jam, and it will go from like a Hendrix part of a song. I'm not going to say a song because I want people to go out and see it. And then we go into a Radiohead song, and then we go into like something. I think what are we doing now? Beatles, not
Yeah.
Tool. All right.
But we've done Tool,
We've done Tool,
done
right.
Metallica,
So
done mashup.
In that mashup, it's a lot of, it's like when I get to like, I'm gonna shred now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at her and our bassist and the drummer, and it's just like we're in the zone. But again, going back to me, the guitar now, the instruments, like I pick up an acoustic and I'll, just let's see what comes out today. What am I gonna write today? I don't have that discipline that some songwriters have, that they do songwriting from 9 to 4 every day, and they sit down and just bust out songs. I don't have the luxury to do that. Guitar has always been, something that I remember as when I was a little kid.
Right.
And I just I love playing. It's whether it's there's so many cool stuff now. Like I see guitar players now that I go see again, and I'm like, oh my god, these guitarists are so like good. So to me, it's always been about going to see an artist, and there's no competitiveness.
Yeah.
Like competition. To me, it's like, wow, it's so cool. Like that you're doing, because everybody has a different approach to it. So I just love playing guitar. I enjoy it so much, and to me, it's I approach it now as like, let me sit down and practice.
Right.
Let me sit down and write. Let me go over to Chris and say, hey, how does this sound? Let me go to guys in the band and say, hey, do you think this will work for a song? So, yeah.
I love how it's transformed in your life as like maybe something to play with, as to now something that's like, wow, I can use it for so many things. Yeah. As you're saying, like, oh my God, I love the guitar. It reminds me of just an interview that I had with Rumors that Anthony, he's multi-instrumentalist in multiple bands, and at some point he just goes, I hate the guitar. it was in Yardage. He's like, I hate the guitar. Like, I'm not the kind of person that feels like every song needs to have that guitar solo or that guitar standout. It's sometimes if the music calls for it, we'll do it.
Right.
So it's funny how in your head you separate it. Like, yes, I have my songs or covers that I can shred, I can have fun, I can have the time of my life. And then other songs where it's like, hey, you don't have to be so out there the whole time for it. It's a beautiful tool. I love the guitar. I don't know what's wrong with him. If I could play any instrument, it'd probably be the guitar.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I've been bad with music my whole life. But the guitar seems fun, right?
Yeah,
Drums are too loud for me. When you said you gravitated towards drums, I'm like, there's something about them that's just like, I don't like being loud. Like,
Really?
yeah.
But you love concerts.
I love concerts. I just don't like me being personally loud. Like, I'm not a loud person. So
Gotcha.
for a drum, like, you have to like hit it so hard and it's gonna make that noise.
Yeah.
So I live in a townhouse. Not fun.
For sure.
I want to hear about you guys' musical influences growing up. If you had some sort of equivalent of a scene phase. I know scene phases were more 2010s.
Right.
But yeah, what was your version of it growing up, that angsty music?
So I would say you just, in saying that, brought me back to a memory that's, for whatever reason, I forget it. But my parents, my dad, for whatever reason, he bought my mom a keyboard. I was maybe 12 years old,
Okay.
right? She paid no attention to that keyboard, but it sat in the living room for years and years and years. He had also given her, with that keyboard, books, music sheets or books for the Beatles, right? And it gave me something to do, right? Talking like before social media. And it gave me something to do. So I would sit there, and it was the same songs over and over again, but as we know, that's what makes us better, right? It's just repetition and practice. And I would play that thing it gave me something to do, and I also loved music. So if I had to recall, probably what was the first thing were the Beatles, right? Where it was the kind of thing that stuck, and radio music, obviously pop and whatever. But if I had to say any band that I really love, it's Dave Matthews Band.
Okay.
And I would say that it has a lot to do with their arrangements are incredible, and the lyrics are something I really gravitate towards. Oh, we sound nothing like them though. I've never really even written anything like them, but that's, if I had to say my first band was Dave Matthews Band, and then completely to the opposite extreme of them, I love Radiohead. I think they are a band that I gravitate towards when I need some inspiration. Oh my God, what can I do differently? I love AWOL Nation.
Okay.
Oh man, it's just, I hear all the sounds in their music, and it's so subtle, but it's there.
Right.
And so when everything's put together, you have these moments of like,
oh, that was so good.
that was so good. And there are a lot of their songs that are like that. And then I like Citizen Cope a lot. I like Band of Horses, very different also, just sort of folky kind of thing, but more Americana, I think. But I feel like my influences are everywhere, and I gravitate towards them for all different kinds of reasons, but it's not any one kind of artist. It's more about the sound to me. And lyrically, I would go back to even a Billy Joel, where his lyrics are telling a story. They're intentional, although he says that it's not.
Right.
If you watch an interview where he's talking about his lyrics, he's like, it's the last thing I'm putting in. Melodies just gotta work with the music. I'm like, those lyrics are incredible. Like the story he told with those lyrics, I like Adam Duritz as a songwriter, as a lyricist. Dave Matthews, obviously, but I feel they're everywhere.
Yeah. No, and I think the best kind of music comes from people who can listen and appreciate everything. And storytelling does start with the melodies and the sound behind it, not just the lyrics. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I love how your beginnings were with that keyboard. I think everyone had a keyboard, just like sitting around the house. And the one in my house, it had the little buttons and like a key that you could like change it to different sounds. Like you wanted a horn, it would do a horn. And there was a demo button that would play this cool little tune. It took maybe like, I want to say around like 8 years ago-ish that I realized I was getting Rickrolled. It was a Rick Astley song, not the typical "Not Gonna Give You Up." It was the other one. But yeah, I've been getting Rickrolled as a kid.
He's having a strong comeback now.
It's always been a thing. Like when you get a meme, you open it, you're watching a video, and then all of a sudden you're Rickrolled.
I saw a video of him the other day playing drums or something. Like, wow,
really?
Yeah. Like jamming. I'm like, wow, that's just so cool.
I hope you're okay, Rick Astley.
I want to be like that. You know, as I get, into my second part of my life or something.
You become timeless, I guess. Yeah. I'll take that.
Timeless through a meme, though? Is that what we really want?
No. The joke of all jokes.
Right. Eddie, what are your musical influences? What did you listen to as a teen? Where did that come from?
Everything. I listened to Metallica a lot when I was a teenager. That to me was like, when I first saw like Metallica, I was like, oh wow, Metallica. What is that? It's like a heavy band, or do they sing in English because of the way the name was? So when I first heard it, I was like, oh my god, the sounds were so cool. And then again, I have my favorite guitar players and bands. Like I love Hendrix, I love Jimmy Page, I love a lot of the stuff that happens in Radiohead. I've been through my categories. There was The Edge from U2, and there was a point that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to make those sounds. I want, but it's like things that you start learning and then you get everything and use it as a tool, as a guiding element. I don't know. It's like it's so hard to like for me as an artist to say, well, my favorite guitar player is this guy or this artist, but I just like. Again, I listen to so much stuff, whether it's indie music or, stuff that, yesterday on our way to our show, I was like, you know what, I haven't listened to PJ Harvey in a long time, so then I went back and listened to PJ Harvey. It's like, oh my God, so cool, like how the songs and the stuff that they do, so it depends, it depends, but to me, like I said, the guitar is something that every guitar player that I listen, whether it's your super famous guitar player or just local artists, that I'm like, man, it's like everybody has their unique touch to it, So I can't really pinpoint like as far as influences, because it's hard to like. For example, I love Van Halen, but nothing that I write or play sounds like Van Halen. I don't think so. I like punk rock, but nothing that I will write will transcend or transport into being punk rock. Right. But it's just, like I really can't pigeonhole like what's the one artist that I like the most. Yeah. It's everything from, it's everything that's out there. There's a lot of great music out there, and it's just I take a little bit of everything, and just apply it as much as I can, because it's there's no such thing as like bad music, Oh, there is. No, we can get into it. Yeah. No, I mean, and it's funny that you mentioned that you went back and listened to something that you haven't listened to in a long time, and you still had that feeling like, wow, this is so great. Because that happened to me with a lot of music that I used to listen to about 10 years ago, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot this band existed, and you go and check it out, and you appreciate it in a whole new way. I don't know if you guys have heard of a band called Law Dispute. Fantastic. I went back and I listened, again, front to cover, their Rooms of the House album, that it came out a little later, so I guess it doesn't have that nostalgia kind of
thing that people love, but it's amazing their storytelling through every song, and it all connects. And this guy isn't even like the best vocalist. Like, he's just yelly.
Yeah.
But it's so emotional. It's just,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that could just make you cry for no reason. Like
Right.
driving to the 9 to 5, like bawling.
Yeah.
4% looks next to me. It's like,
I
you good?
I guess like going back to guitar and sounds and music. Again, I driving again yesterday. I'm like, Taking Back Sunday. Let me go
Right.
back and listen to them. Because there's certain songs or certain things that they're doing that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Just that moment in a song or the whole song. But yeah. So.
Yeah, but when we mentioned bad music, I went back and I listened to Blood on the Dance Floor. Which was an era. And I remember as a kid, I was like, this is so edgy. This is like,
Right.
I'm not supposed to listen to this. And then as an adult, when you actually listen to it, you're like, this is awful. This has absolutely no redeeming qualities.
It's true.
Yeah.
But somebody liked it. Somebody had to like it, right? I guess,
And a bunch of messed up 14-year-old kids were like, yes, I love this. I somehow identify with this. But when you grow out of it and you're actually looking back, you're like, oh God, I don't know if like time's making me soft too, with these lyrics. Like, God, how could someone just say that?
Right.
Yeah. So there's bad music.
yeah. And there's even music that, isn't, for example, a band that I would say I love, but it's a great band.
Right.
And I can appreciate the music and their sense of style in their music, but then there's nothing about them that draws me to them.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bands like that I could say.
Like, we have that conversation a lot because when she'll ask me, oh, do you want to go see, I'm not going to say names, but she'll tell me, you want to go see this band in concert? And I'm like, no, not really. Like, I think they're great. And she is a phenomenal singer, sounds great, but I just,
Or even the band, because I know we've talked about a specific band that it's like, I'm not really drawn to them.
Yeah.
But, they're radio band, and you know why they're there.
Right.
And they're great, and the music's great, the arrangements are great, but I'm not in love with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are all kinds of tastes. It's no different than us. I know there gonna be folks out there that they're like, but then we've got people that are like, oh my God. I think probably the best thing anyone ever said to me was like, I connect with exactly what you're singing about, and I'm like,
That's all I wanted.
that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I put my heart into it and
Yeah.
see someone connected with that.
Right. And I mean, I will name names. There's certain bands that I know are good, and it's good music, and obviously they're on the radio, like 21 Pilots. I'm not a huge
I love them.
fan. No,
But lots of synth, like a lot of.
And I can recognize they're good. They've gotten where they've gotten because they work hard and whatever else, but it's just not to my personal taste. And that's fine.
I don't want to use that same names, but thank you for bringing it for breaking the ice of the names. But again, that's a band that Chris likes a lot.
I love
and
them, yeah.
I think they're great. I mean, I think, they write cool stuff. I mean, the drummer is really good. How they go about their show is amazing because I've seen them. But again,
Right. You're not going to sit down in your car and be like, wow, I really want to listen to them today.
I do.
Right. But that's why
But
there's
see,
music
like-
for everybody.
Yeah, there's something for everyone, and I feel that your musical tastes, even for you as a person, aren't the same. Right? There may be a band just like them, and you're like, no,
It's not the same. Yeah.
it's not the same, and that's what's really great about music is that it's no two songs are the same, no two interpretations of the song are the same. If there's one thing I try to not do is put out there this song was about this, because it may be something completely different for someone. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was about
Yeah.
whatever, and now the song doesn't have the same meaning to me, and then I'm like, I just like that.
yeah, that's happened to
Yeah,
us,
that's
right? In a
happened.
couple
Music
of
is for your
songs.
interpretation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's happened that people have. There's a song that we have. It's from our first EP. It's called Give More Heart, right? And when we went to record it, we were like, we were really like listening, or we had gone to see Citizen Cope, and there's like some cool stuff that he does with like elements of hip hop, right? And so we were like, let's take that sort of approach with this song, with Give More Heart, which it sounds nothing like anything Citizen Cope has ever done or anything. So there's a part of the song that I think with the bullhorn, Chris was saying on the recording, he begs me for more. So when we play the song live, that she's doing that with the bullhorn, the reaction, I like to see people's reaction when we're performing, especially songs that like the band knows that they know the lyrics, but you'll see somebody saying like, when she goes, with the bullhorn, do it with the bullhorn.
He begged me for
more. You see people like looking like.
Some people will be like, oh,
what? But if you were to ask Chris what the song is about, or have a conversation, it's not what some people interpret. Because our mind goes to someplace else. But interpretations of songs and lyrics can be very misleading.
Yeah.
I think especially if it's a girl who's saying that.
Yeah.
He begs me for more. It's like,
Wow.
What is that about?
That's like keep people on their toes.
Definitely.
Speaking of the EP, Give More Heart, the most recent EP you guys did was Screaming for Laughter, and that was back in 2022. So I'm wondering what's next for Stereo Joule.
Oh wow.
So we've got at least 4 songs that are studio ready, but we've been really busy, right? We've had a very busy January, a very busy February. As a matter of fact, tonight we leave for Georgia because we've got some shows out there. But we've got these 4 songs that we're like, we gotta get in, and we've scheduled time at the studio, and then had to be like, we'll reschedule, right? Because we just don't have that kind of time. As shows come up, that's what we love to do.
Yeah.
We love to perform, right? That's our thing. But songwriting is a huge part of who we are, and we're always doing it. And I think that when you're living with your co-writer, it makes it very easy. It also makes it a lot easier when you have your rehearsal studio at home.
Yes.
Our drummer, who, by the way, is bringing a lot of good ideas to us as a songwriting team, where now we are a team of 3 writing. That's super helpful. And he's like half a mile away from us. So it's very easy for us to just get together and hash things out. And, everything shakes out, and we've got great ideas. It's just, we gotta get into the studio.
Yeah.
And the approach for this next, I don't even think we're gonna do EPs anymore. I think we're just gonna be releasing.
I was about to say, I feel an album coming in my bones, but all right.
Eventually, if we corral everything and it becomes an EP, but at this point, we're thinking that we get a little anxious about, I want this out already kind of thing. Yeah. And so we're thinking, a single at a time, and just have maybe May through November, we've got a single coming out each month.
Because we are playing some of the songs that we want to record. We're performing them,
right,
and incorporate it into our set, and not playing some of the songs from the first 2 EPs. And we're also doing a lot, like we have, I think it's like 3 or 4 shows in the next 2 weeks in Jasper, Blue Ridge, Atlanta, LJ in Georgia. And it's just she and I doing our acoustic roadshow, because it's just like our acoustic set, not 45 minutes, but kind of like 30 minutes of just doing. We just did it last Saturday, right? Propaganda. Yeah, we did our acoustic stuff, and
on a metal night.
It was a metal night. Yes, I loved it.
And we were a little like, I wish we had the full bands because
Yeah.
it fits better, you know?
Good bands, and they've seen us play before, and they were like, it's cool. Like again, like piggyback into this real quick. Metal Night, it was all like very heavy bands, and they've seen us play before. You know, charged up the whole band, and they were all there to see us because we were like, hey, you guys want to play play a show with us? And I go, yes, but it'd just be Chris and I because, you know, the guys are busy and it's just going to be acoustic. And they were like, on the thread with like 5 other bands. What? Really? Acoustic? You guys are doing acoustic stuff? And we were like, yeah. So it was so cool because we had a nice audience plus all the bands, you know, because it was like 4 other bands and they were just like, wow, yeah, I didn't know you guys could do that electronic stuff, strip it down, and then do acoustic stuff.
That's very cool.
That's
Makes
what we're
us
doing.
versatile for sure.
And it's fun for us because it's a different take on the songs, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's a complete different take. So yeah, we got that. You know, we just we got pre-production done for songs.
Right.
We want to get in the studio. We work the person we work with that we go and record and track stuff. He's like, hey, I haven't seen you guys like in a year, you know. You guys keep rescheduling. It's like you know, like everybody, life is busy, life is happening. So just trying to find time, you know, and have fun.
What you said about the acoustic thing like goes back to the anniversary show where like I had 3 bands doing pop punk emo stuff.
Awesome.
And the day before the show, Manic Frequency sends me a message and says, hey, our drummer's like dying, like deadly sick, cannot get out of bed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a high energy acoustic set. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, I remembered that there was this one band that had reached out saying, oh, we're just doing acoustic right now because we don't have the other members. And I was like, oh no, I kind of need a full band for this show though. Like, thank you for offering.
Yeah.
And now looking back, I'm like, damn, they're probably like, they had an acoustic set anyway.
Right. No, and it is possible. It is possible to have high energy acoustic, but because and we've gone through that too, where don't slow it down, and if you do, you gotta add some oomph to it, so that it's not sort of. I think what I always, and this is even part of how we book our shows, is you know, we kind of only want to book venues because, and I mean venues like, yeah, sure, they could have food and beverages, but and a bar, but the focal point is the stage, right?
Yeah.
It's the stage, and so we also want to be able to deliver on that as well, and have that high energy, because my perspective is we're not background music, and that's important to us, right? And it's not to say we wouldn't play certain places, because obviously you want to play everywhere you can, but you know, when you check out a new venue, you're looking, it's like, okay, it's just their cheeseburgers and their, you know, spirits. Like, okay, that's great, but where's the music? And so that's important to us. And I know I went off differently than...
No, when you just said we're not background music, it made me think of that meme with the chicken that's looking at itself in the mirror, and it's like, tú no eres sopa, tú eres plato fuerte.
Exactly. It's a matter of, you know,
we are the show.
We are the show, right? Like, you know, help us help you, and make this
bring
about,
people in, exactly.
You know what's going on here, because you know you can pick up cheeseburgers anywhere, but like, you know, help us make your venue, you know, a venue.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how. Because of the acoustic stuff. So even
and acoustic can make you fall in love with a track. I remember when I watched the Olivia Rodrigo Tiny Desk. I'm like a huge fan. Off that new album, the Love Is Embarrassing track, I was like, it's all right, whatever. And when I heard it on that Tiny Desk episode, it's my new favorite song.
I just saw it like 2 weeks ago.
She's
so talented.
She's really, really great.
But you see, I mean, again, going back to music. If I tell some of my friends, have you heard of Olivia Rodrigo? You know, well, why would you listen? I'm like, because
that Cuban.
Yeah.
but it's like, you know, I always say this, like, when people get hung up on genres and loyalty to an artist and stuff, like a good song is a good song.
Yes.
It don't matter who wrote the damn song.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good song where there's or whoever you're getting it from whatever artist, right? But whoever wrote it and the back or something, it's a good song and that person is doing their best. So
Yeah.
I can't stand when people say, "Oh, but that's so cheesy." I'm like, it's so mainstream, or like, I'm like, come on, man.
Millions of people love it, so they
Oh,
have to
yeah.
be doing something
No,
right.
no,
Yeah.
So-
I don't like getting hung up on that whole mainstream and
Yeah.
selling out and whatever. I'm like,
I'm too old for that.
we're like nobody wants to be background music
Yes.
forever, right? Like
Right.
we put ourselves in front of the public, you know, seeking that. We all want to make a living at it and
Yeah.
have this be our bread and butter, you know. So when I hear that kind of chatter, I'm a little like,
You mean when
good
you're
for you in your world.
Yeah, I just think it's something extremely immature. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, music, every artist puts in their time and effort.
Yeah.
And this
Right.
girl, if you do look at the, you know, she is a songwriter, she is working on it.
Yeah.
She isn't
Yeah.
popping out an album every 6 months. Like, it took her 2
Yeah.
years to make this other album. And you can
Yeah.
see the growth in her and the different
Yeah.
styling and whatnot. And I'm proud of her. Like, she is one of my favorite artists. I mean,
Yeah. I
So-
like her. Well, I mean, when we talk about like pop mainstream type of thing, like especially as someone who plays keys and synth, you know, I gravitate a lot towards Phineas and Billie Eilish because I love what they're doing.
super talented.
I mean, what I love her lyrics and I love the way she sings, but what he does, I'm always like you hear it and you're like, oh, I wish I would have come up with that because
Yeah,
it's so great, you know? And, you know, I bring that up because, you know, they're everywhere at this point, but I think you need to look at everything and appreciate everything. And maybe you don't love the whole thing, but there's something to learn. You can admire it and learn from it, and it's your own take. You come up with something else, but you know, when I hear what he does, I have those moments of like, I wish I'd done that. I could have done that, you know. And I have moments like that a lot.
For sure.
Because I think they're really great, and I think they're both very talented, and definitely can appreciate them. And Olivia too.
There's a lot of talented new age musicians that I think
Yeah.
people really just do
Yeah.
need to give them a chance and not say, oh, they're on the radio or they're doing this or whatever, or they're too young or what do they know? Like that's not fair to anybody.
It's not. Absolutely not.
When I say I'm too old for it, it's because that competitiveness, that's something that I did have in my teenage years. Where it's
Right.
like, oh, that's not cool or that's not whatever.
Yeah.
I listen to anything and everything nowadays.
Right.
Like you have to give it a chance.
Right.
But I think that's a great, I'm excited to hear these tracks that you guys might be bringing out this year,
Yeah.
if you have time to record them.
Yes.
Just circling back to the question that was asked. And then, you know, this is your shameless plug moment. So if you need to let them know anything about Stereo Joule, this is your time.
Well, you can find us on all socials, right? We keep all of that active. We love what we do, and we've got new music. We are expecting that to come out this year. We will be doing it as singles. The plan is May through November, at least every 6 weeks, and we've got really, really cool. And I like to think that it's always different, but we've got this really good sort of edgy and then soft, right? Like a combination of everything coming out this year, and I'm really excited about it. And I like how we keep pushing ourselves and trying different things. And I think I'm not gonna say I think we are a great band. We bring a lot of cool energy to
We're
the
fun
music world.
So come
yeah.
to our shows.
Yeah, come to the shows.
It's a fun show because we interact with the crowd, and we also you know, engage with the crowd, you know.
Mhm.
Even if there's like 5 people or 50 or 500, we are, you know,
Yeah.
our bass player is, you know, he cracks out jokes or, you know, between
Got
sets
some
about
jokes
doing,
in there.
yeah, he throws in some jokes and stuff, and we're a fun band. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of cool stuff happening. Might do some acoustic shows.
Mhm.
Well, we are doing
Alright.
acoustic shows the next 2
Next
weeks,
2 weeks, yeah.
but
Yeah.
come out and check us out, you know.
I'm excited that you guys are excited. I am so happy you could swing by and have this wonderful chat with
Thank
us on the
you
Senior
for
Citizen
having us.
Podcast.
I'm glad we were able to make it
Yeah.
happen.
For sure. And best of luck with everything. We will catch you guys next time. Make sure to go follow Stereo Joule and follow us on the Senior Citizen Podcast. Like, comment, engage, and share with your friends.
Thanks, baby.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.